It's entertaining. It's educating. Really informative. Qualitative news as it breaks. It's OSBC Radio 2, 104.5 FM. Numero uno south of the Sahara. Voice of the West.
You are live. On Ocean Radio. Ocean Radio.
At her head. Australia's parliament has passed legislation enshrining a pledge to slash carbon emissions by 43% by 2030 and to net zero by 2050. Reports hazard that the country is one of the world's biggest emitters per capita, and the target brings it more in line with other developed countries. But critics say government plans to reach the target and are lacking details. Some have been demanding a higher goal as well as a ban on new fossil fuel projects in the country. Prime Minister Mr. Anthony Albanese has lauded the climate change bill as an end to a decade of climate policy inaction. South Korea has proposed talks with North Korea to discuss how to help the thousands of families who were separated by the 1950-53 Korean War. In its latest direct overture to Pyongyang since President Yoon Suk-yeol took office in May, Unification Minister Mr. Noon Young-si extended the invitation to dialogue on the eve of Chuseok, one of the biggest holidays for Koreans on both sides of the border, describing the separation of families as part of a painful reality. Seoul is willing to consider Pyongyang's references in deciding the date, venue, agenda, and format of the talks. It would be recalled that families were torn apart in 1953 when an armistice brought the fighting in the Korean War to an end, but left North and South still technically at war, and the peninsula split by the demilitarized zone and heavily fortified border. All direct civilian exchanges, even a simple visit to a mother, brother, father, or sister, were banned. And here again are the highlights of the world at noon. OSBC News chronicled the life and time of Queen Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor II, who died at the age of 96 at a Balmoral residence in Scotland. Ghana's former president, Mr. John Mahama, has blamed the country's economic woes on corruption, mismanagement of COVID-19 funds, excessive borrowing, and the high cost of banking reforms, among other factors. A judge in Argentina has charged a man and his girlfriend with attempting to kill Vice President Ms. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner last week. And that was the word at noon, edited by Olushola Egbedofu and delivered by Temitokwe Olayiwola. News Talk today emphasizes the importance of agriculture to human and nation development. It therefore calls on individuals, most especially schools, to encourage practical agriculture with a view to ensuring self-sustainability and economic boom. The piece was written by Adeni Ikende of our editorial beats.
Is an old man. It has always sustained man from the Adamic era through the Ice Age, Iron Age to the modern technology age. As man passes through phases, agriculture has remained as it was in tilling of land and rearing of animals. No nation in the world, ancient or modern, can lay claim to its survival without a mention of famine. Till today, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brazil, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire still pride themselves with the production of palm, tree crops, cereals, and cocoa in that order. Nigeria, which developed its first phase of infrastructure through cocoa, rubber, cotton, and groundnut, is being forced back to farming after the crash of oil. Time was when primary school pupils cultivated garden and visited it every Thursday. It was fun and hard work, learning about farming. Time was also when secondary schools had practical agriculture on farmlands. Students were allocated arable land, with schools having storage facilities for maize and cassava. Very many high-ranking officers in public and private sectors still reminiscing on and relish the good old days when long holidays were spent on grandfather's farm. All these are gone today, except for efforts of the state government of Osun at reviving farm settlement of the old. Farming has for long been left for the aged who could no longer engage in commercial production, but subsistence ones with very little produce for markets. Worse than these are graduates of agriculture who hate farming. Some of them cannot even teach the subject to pupils, yet we have universities and colleges of agriculture across the country. Newsop believes that farming as a noble industry should be appealing to everybody who has pieces of undeveloped land, as it does not require each input to harvest enormously. We also observe that weekly garden and farming should return to schools. This is more so that government, particularly in Osun, now build schools with well-laid herb plants and eye for harvesters. As there are spaces to accommodate sports to take away youth from crimes, no stock suggests to school heads to make farms out of the remaining pieces of land now lying fallow. It is also our opinion that universities and colleges of agriculture, as well as facilities of agriculture, should be able to feed their immediate communities. Undergraduates should be able to buy anything edible within the university enrollment, especially those that are learning towards farming. We equally want to appeal to the government to revive the moribund Agricultural Research Institute, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, Grain, National Institute for Agricultural Research and Training, NIHOT, and Palm Oil Research Institute. If the government can do that for Ajaokuta Steel Company, it can do same for this institute without much funding.
That news talk on the importance of agriculture and the need for students at all levels to engage in its practicals for employment opportunities, self-sustenance and national economic boom was written by Adeni Ikende of our editorial beat and delivered by Olushola Egbedofo. For more about us, visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.
You are live. On Osun Radio. Osun Radio.
Community radio at its best.
104.5 FM.